Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cabral Concept. This is our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Can't wait to get into today's show topic, which is success leaves clues. This is one of the most important phrases I have ever heard in my entire life. So back in my early 20s to mid 20s, I really started to get into mindset and growth development, like personal development, because I knew where I was in my life at that time. It did not match up with what I felt my potential could be or where I wanted my life to be. I was just going about a normal, regular, average old day. And I talked about that just a couple of shows previous on, being either obsessed or being okay with average. And I was perfectly average and I had no real issues with that at the time. But I was starting to reach down my mid-20s. I was thinking about, I would like to ask my then girlfriend to be my wife. I would like to maybe purchase a home. I would maybe like to have a family one day. And these thoughts just started to go through my head. And I had done a little bit of self-development work before. And again, I just knew that there was more. Like, I didn't even know that I had more. So I shouldn't say that I don't feel like I was living up to my potential, because I actually did. I didn't know that I had more potential. I didn't know that there was more for me. All I knew was that I wanted more. That's it. Like, I wanted more out of life. And it wasn't about money. It was just about experiences. It was about having options. And so what I heard, and I wish I could give, where credit's due, and I always try to. So it's like, I studied Jim Rohn, and I thought Jim Rohn was amazing. And I studied Les Brown, and that was more like, I was exposed to maybe my later 20s through seminars, but I studied like Nightingale Conant-based people. I studied, who else? Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, and Neville Goddard's work. Who else? There's so many great people. Waddles, I studied his work. So again, so many great people. I don't want to leave anybody out. Napoleon Hill, of course, was in there. Some of these great people. And they kept mentioning this phrase, success leaves clues. And I didn't know what it meant at first, but it was like, it's like a treasure map, right? You're looking around, you're searching for these treasures. But the interesting thing is that the treasures are always there. Meaning the map has been laid out for us. We all come from our own interesting backgrounds, our own diverse backgrounds, our own upbringing, our own experiences, and sometimes traumas in life that can be our undoing, or that challenge, as they say, that mess, can be the message that we bring to the world. And I started to really own that. And I started to say, because I used to never tell people that I was like sick from that, 17 years old to 27. I never talked about that at my job, because I was supposed to be the epitome of health, the epitome of fitness. That's what I was supposed to be: strength and conditioning specialist, personal trainer, nutritionist. I was supposed to have everything all together. And I was healing, but then I would relapse, and I would get well, and then I would relapse, and I wasn't doing well. And 5 out of those 6 winters in my 20s, I got pneumonia. And so it was a really hard time. And I wasn't owning that. I didn't want to share it with anybody. Even when I got pneumonia, I would just say I was sick. I was taking some time off. But again, I kept continuing to work on my own personal development, knowing that I had to find out if there was more in me. And so I would do the work, and I would hear the phrase, success leaves clues, and I would then realize, what they mean is this, is that if you want to develop an amazing ability to write, or to speak, or to become a great personal trainer, or doctor of naturopathy, or acupuncturist, or chiropractor, or massage therapist, or anything you want to be, great parent, great husband, great wife, etc., right? Anything you want, books, volumes have been written on it. Courses have been created. Coaches exist. I've talked about that on almost every Mindset and Motivation Monday podcast, right? Almost all. And it's an amazing thing. And I'm just going to take 1 minute, but there's a second part to this, but take 1 minute to really share with you that it is true. No matter how many times an individual says it, sometimes it's not the right moment for us to hear it. I had read hundreds of books, but it was like when I saw it that last time, I'm like, I get it. So what do I need to do? And so then I would go and I actually began, this is in my mid-20s, to look at other coaches of coaches and say, can I hire this person? And if it was too much money, I said no. But do they then have a course, which back then was like discs, right? Like CDs and workbooks they would send you. Can I learn from them? And it was the beginning of dissolving of the ego. And I'm not going to say I've dissolved my ego. I've done better. That's all. That's all we can all hope, is just to do better. And I realized, like, it's okay to not have all the answers. It is. And truthfully, I would just ask myself, why do you want to struggle? Like, do you really want to struggle? Haven't you struggled enough? You struggle enough with your health. Why do you want to struggle in every other area of your life as well? Why can't you learn from other people's mistakes so it shortcuts your path to success? And I would talk to myself like that, and I still continue to talk to myself, but I would ask myself these questions and I wouldn't have the answers. And so then I would go forward and I would study other people's work. I would study as much as I could. If people had anything to write, I would read it. I didn't mean I had to believe all of it, but if I connected with the person and I felt that I was on a similar path to them, or they were speaking to me, I would then begin to implement and take action. And what I found was this, is that when I did that, it wasn't so much the success I would begin to have, but the mindset shift that would begin. I actually realized as I was going through the process very slowly that I was becoming a different person. That I looked at not just relationships or business or health or whatever, like as a singularity, as its own thing. Like conventional medicine believes that, well, the brain is separate than the heart's separate than the adrenals, and the adrenals are separate than the liver. No, like we know the body works together, holistically, not as separate compartments. Well, I realized that as I got better in one area of my life, it began to improve the others because of the discipline that it took and the knowledge that I was claiming as my own, that I was embodying, that I was actually then implementing, right? And so I would learn, absorb, assimilate, take action. And I saw myself moving forward and I said, well, if this is working in this area of my life, it would probably work in others. But also it boosted confidence in certain areas of my life. And that confidence then started to spill over into other areas. But there's one more part of this that I wanted to share with you here today, because I've talked about the blueprint, right? The success blueprint many times. I can help you to get well, to improve your aging, longevity, to lose the weight, gain the weight. I know I can do that. But you can also meet with a naturopathic doctor in your area. You can also meet with an integrative health practitioner, right? All over the world. So it doesn't have to be me, but I know I can do that. So that's why I know it exists. I know it can happen. And this is in every field. I'm not the relationships expert, right? But I can tell you, like, there are things you're going to want to do if you want to be better in relationships. Those are kind of foundational. Those are things that I've learned. Same with spirituality. I'm not a spirituality guru, but I know certain things. I've learned certain things. I've been through a lot. And I could, again, in every area of the life, career, etc. But that's just one part of it. What I've also begun to really just, I want to say, like, I've known about it, but haven't absorbed it. I'm starting to absorb it now, is that success leaves clues of what to do to be successful. But also, maybe equally worth studying, success leaves of what makes people unsuccessful. And I'm not a person who likes to focus on the negative. I had a lot of negative in my life for a long period of time. My suffering in health led to mental health suffering in other areas. Like everything was going bad because, like, I'm telling you right now, when you don't have your energy, when you don't have your immune system, you always feel like you have flu-like symptoms. When you feel, again, when you've had the worst virus, think about that of your life. Think about feeling like that every day. That's how I was. That's a taste of Addison's disease or myalgic encephalomyelitis. Every area of your life is terrible because you feel terrible. So I get that, and I didn't want to, so I had to really shift deep to the positive, and that served me. But now that I'm many decades into this and I feel good, like I feel I've got, a semblance of balance. I can look at the negative and I can say the negative can teach us as well. And maybe you're ready for that in your own life. I'll tell you right now, success leaves clues for what unsuccessful people do as well. I see over and over that the people who don't get well, they are doing the practices often of successful people, but they haven't let go of the unsuccessful practices as well. So what are they doing? Well, they are allowing themselves to fall back into patterns of detrimental activities that just counterbalance their successful actions, right? So where are they? Always in the same spot. And that's what I want to share for many people here today. So when you go to the gym, every January, you see a new group of people. I worked in gyms my entire life, so I like to use this as an analogy. It's not always the best one, but stick with me here for a moment. So I would see people in March and April that looked just like they did in January. Now, keep in mind, going to the gym is not just about body transformation, and I don't want to make it about that. But I know for sure, because I work with 50 other personal trainers, that wasn't their goal. So I would say, hey, talking as normal early 20s would do, personal training and all that, hey, why isn't your client, why aren't they losing weight? What's going on? Because I know that was their goal. Again, if it's not your goal to lose weight, then again, there's no need to lose weight. That's your choice, right? It's your choice. You get to do what you want with your body, and it's what might be best for you, and I'm okay with that. It's not about that. But what I would realize is, and again, I'm only really absorbing it here today, they came and they worked out. They did their cardio. They, for the most part, followed the nutrition plan, but they were unwilling to go maybe that extra 20%, which is actually what they needed in order to transform their body. They were unwilling to give up alcohol. That was much of the time. Again, Boston, Massachusetts, big academic, business-based city. A lot of people go out 3, 4, 5 nights a week for work or for just pleasure, whatever it might be. Again, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. When my wife and I were in our early 20s, we went out 3 times a week, probably to dinner, maybe 4. That's just what we enjoyed doing. We worked hard. At the end of the day, we stopped, and neither one of us were good to cook dinner, so we went out to dinner. We enjoyed it, very much so. Nothing wrong with that. But if you're drinking alcohol 3, 4 plus nights a week, and you're not eating well at those meals, well, that can't offset everything else that you're doing. So that is an unsuccessful habit if your goals are to transform your body. Another one, though, is, again, if your goal is even to fix your digestive system, but you're always stressed out and you know that you need to fix the stress because the stress goes to your gut, and you're filling your head with a lot of negative things. I'm not here to tell you not to watch the news or take in a lot of social media, but a lot of social media is really negative, and it reinforces negative thoughts. And when you watch the news at night, just count up the stories. Again, you don't need to take my word for it. Just count the stories up. How many of them are positive, uplifting? How many uplift the human spirit? And how many are death, destruction, gloom and doom all around us? I think you'll find it's at least 9 out of 10 on the latter. Now, maybe all of that's true. They might be reporting on true stories, and most likely they are. But those are cherry-picked as to what they're reporting on. And that's because they know that negativity gets the limbic part of the brain to tune in more often because it needs something to worry about to keep you safe, right? But I'll tell you this, I don't listen to news and haven't for many, many decades, probably 2. And when I go into the world, I don't see as much the negativity. I just don't. I don't see the division amongst people. I don't know, again, maybe it's me, but I travel all over the country. I really do. I speak all over the country, and I love it. And I love going out and meeting people. And I just don't see the divisiveness that is talked about as much in the news. But maybe it's there, and no doubt it's there. But it's probably in pockets, and it's probably less of a percentage of people. And I oftentimes feel maybe we're being taught to be more negative. But either way, regardless, if you're someone that's extremely stressed, I believe in anchoring your day. And if before you go to bed you're watching the news or looking at troubling things in your phone, and then you wake up to social media and a lot of negativity, well, you end your day and you start your day with a lot of hardship, a lot of stress. And that may be something that you need to give up for a period of time in order to allow that body to heal. So what I want to share with you is this. Think about this. Success leaves clues. It's always been taught to us. People who have achieved what you want, you don't want to be them. Trust me, you don't want to be anybody else. But you want to achieve a level of maybe what that person has. Health, body transformation, relationship, spirituality, career, etc. What are they doing? What is the blueprint that they're following? Try to look at a group of people, right? So, these people all in different walks of life have what I'm looking for. Great. What have they done to get there? All right, success. But also, all the people you don't necessarily want to emulate that life, what are they doing? What are they absorbing? What type of knowledge are they feeding themselves? And I think that you'll start to see patterns. You'll see clues. You'll find clues. When you find those things, write them down. Successful people in this area seem to be doing this, 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 and this. And unsuccessful people actually seem to be doing this, 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 and this. That means, although I'll never be perfect, I need to do less of what the unsuccessful people are doing and more of what successful people are doing. And then I need to continue to reinforce the good behaviors, put more positive knowledge, or at least uplifting and motivating knowledge into my brain of the actions that I should and can be taking in order to reach your highest potential. Nobody else's, just yours. And then the last piece is just overcoming that last little bit of fear, the fear of moving into the unknown, the fear of success, the fear of failure, the fear of just doing something that you've never done before. But the more that you take those small steps, and they can be small, the more that the fear begins to dissolve just a little bit. And oftentimes, as there was a great book written, sometimes you just need to feel the fear and do it anyway. Thanks so much for tuning into this Mindset and Motivation Monday. I thank you. I appreciate you. And as always, if this was helpful, do feel free to share it with anyone else you believe it could serve. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.